So I am Pakshal Mehta and I hail from Bhuj, Gujarat. And right after 10th, I opted for commerce stream. After 12th, I went to NM College of Commerce and Economics, Mumbai, and I pursued BMS in marketing there. And then right after that, in 2023, I appeared for several interviews and then finally got into IIM Ahmedabad. And currently, I'm in the second year of IIM Ahmedabad, pursuing MBA. And yeah, just about to pass out in 2025.
I'm Simran Rai, and I'm born, brought up, and educated entirely in Delhi. Recently, I'm pursuing my Master of Business Administration (MBA) from one of the top Indian B schools, that is FMS. And a little background about my education is I've done my BBA, that is Bachelor of Business Administration, from Delhi Technological University, specializing in marketing domain. There, I had worked with Dunzo as a B2B marketing specialist, which gave me insights and interest towards marketing. And here also, I'm pursuing doing majors in marketing only. So, and recently, I have interned with one of the top leaders of frozen food industry, that is McCain Foods India, as a B2B intern only. So all of these insights have gotten me a lot of interest toward marketing field, business administration, everything. So little about this. And apart from this, if I have to talk something apart from academics, I have keen interest towards dancing and teaching. I have done various dance shows, be it a solo dance performance or a group dance performance, right, beginning from my school only. And teaching, I am a very teaching enthusiast. I love to teach all the underprivileged students. I have a coaching center at home, which my father is the like who runs it. But sometimes whenever I'm free, or whenever I'm in a break of a semester break or something like that, I go there and teach whatever help I can do to those students. So that's a lot. That's all about me.
My name is Abhishek Kumar Singh. I was born in Bihar and brought up in Odisha. I am currently a first year PGP student at IIM Kozhikode, and I completed my BTech in Mechanical Engineering from the Central University of Chhattisgarh, Guru Ghasidas University. Post that, I worked at three different workplaces spanning across the insurance industry, majorly at Policy Bazaar and ACO. In my free time, I enjoy playing cricket, also watching it, and I have been a cricket commentator for quite a while. These are my hobbies. And to talk about cat interviews, I have uh, I have been giving interviews for the last 2 years, and luckily this year I got into IMK. So yeah, that will be pretty much about myself.
I am currently in my first year of MBA at IIM Bangalore. So I have done my undergrad in computer science from Jadavpur University, Kolkata, and I finished my grad in 2022. After that, I came to Bangalore and I was working as a software developer, full stack software developer at PayU. And I gave CAT in 2023, and then I gave the interviews call and all happened, and finally I ended up at the place to be. And yeah, so that's about me.
I think it's a very common saying that interviews are very unpredictable, and it was the same for me as well. So, for example, my very first interview was in January itself for IIM Lucknow, and so it's a common notion that IIM Lucknow interviews are very difficult. They grill a lot, but then for me, it turned out to be very different. Like it was so chill that the interviewers just asked me to tell some story from my life, and they just started randomly chit chatting with me. So it felt more like a podcast than an interview. So, and the person right before me in the same panel, he had a very grueling interview. So it can be very unpredictable. So that was something which just came out of the blue. So they just asked me to share some insights from my share anything from my life and how I had prepared for the exams. And then they started talking about morals and ethics, and about half of my interview of I Am Lucknow just revolved around morals, ethics, ethical dilemmas, and everything. And at the end, they also suggested me that I should go and read a few books. So it was very different and something out of my expectations. Apart from that, yeah. So there was one more interview. I think for I am Calcutta, where I had appeared for the interview. It lasted for like 15-20 minutes. And then they asked me that, yeah, you can leave now. And right when I stood up, they just asked me another question, that what is my hobby. And when I said that I like to play chess and follow chess, then they asked me to sit back and then asked a few questions on chess. And then they finally asked me to leave. So even that was something that I did not see coming. Already I was feeling quite relieved that the interview is over. And just when I was about to leave the room, they asked me to come back and continue the interview. So yeah, random things do happen at interviews.
I can recall the interview at IIT Delhi, which was again one of the good schools, one of the best B schools in Delhi NCR. So while I was interviewing for them, there were few, I think 5 panels were there, and the interview was a really a stress kind of an interview. They were all of them were looked very really serious, and before me there were students who had really good like 4 years, 3 years, 2.5 years. So it was a very good experience. Interviews were going on. So when as soon as I entered into the room, they were like, you are just, you are just 20 and 21. Why do you want to do MBA right now? And you don't think the people outside, they're sitting outside and they have relevant number of work experience, and they are much deserving than you. So you have to sometimes you have to bring something to the table that other cannot have. As a fresher, you have to tell them your story, why why this is going to help you. So the interview was really very stressful. They asked me all kind of questions. I think they were projecting me like I was not worth it. And I think even if I had 15-20 minutes more, I would have changed my decision to do an MBA right after my graduation. I would have gone for some work experience. So it was really that stressful. They wanted to hear me from me that, okay, it's fine, I'll come back after 2 years, maybe 3 years, after some work experience. So it is very important to be very particular about your journey. You should be very particular about telling how your storytelling, your answers, and you should be very confident. You should be very confident. Confidence is the key to your interviews, right? So they were just checking. They were making me a little bit stressed so that I should say at the end that yeah, they are very much deserving, and I think I should come back after 2 years or maybe 3 years. So I think this was one thing.
Calls from IIM Bangalore, Lucknow, Kozhikode, Shillong, New and Baby IIMs, and I had called from Excel and MDI. These were the major calls that I had. And to talk about the interesting interview experiences, so I'd like to mention about two of them. One was when I have mentioned cricket a lot of times in my CV, and I also used to say this in my introduction every time. So in one of the interviews, they asked me about this particular thing, as to our World Cup final had happened in November and the interviews were in February. So they asked, where did you went wrong and who's your favorite player? Then I answered Rohit Sharma. And then they shifted to why not Virat Kohli, their batting style comparison, and a lot of discussion on multiple players. So that did not feel like an interview to me, but that was more like a genuine cricket discussion. And that was something quite interesting. I loved it. And secondly, so I have 3 years, nearly 3 years work ex, and in one of my interviews, they asked me about thermodynamics, concepts of thermodynamics, and that went on for long. So I remembered the basics. I was able to answer it, but they kept on going deep, and I was not able to answer it. I gave them the reasoning. I don't recollect the things, but they themselves kept giving the hints, and they wanted to get to the conclusion. And I feel they wanted to see, if given the information, am I able to think in a structured way or not? So these two are quite experiences that I think were very interesting and different from the usual interviews that happened for me.
I got call from like among the top 6 IIMs. I got call from Bangalore, Lucknow, Kozhikode, and Indore, and I had FMS and I had the CAP call, and I also gave interview for IIT Delhi, Bombay, and KGP. So among them, interesting, I will say that was the most was the Bangalore interview, because there I got some pretty like off the curve questions which are not technical and which are like not theoretical also, and they were like off the situation based questions. So yeah, so there there are a few questions where I have to like give answers on the ground, make them logical, and support them with my reasoning, proper reasoning. So yeah, that's the most important, interesting thing that happened in Bangalore interview.
So I think uh, the interviews can pretty much be dissected into a few categories. First thing is about yourself. So a lot of my interviews have started with the same question: "Tell me about yourself." And since I have a slightly unique name, so a lot of interviews start with asking the meaning of my name. So I was very much prepared that firstly they'll ask me about the meaning of my name, then they'll ask me about myself. So it's important that you have a clear-cut answer to introduce yourself in say 1 minute, 1 minute, 20 seconds, so that they have an idea, and that becomes a base for the entire interview because you provide them points to talk about. So it's necessary that you talk about the points about which you're confident and you're comfortable to talk about. Apart from that, since I was a fresher, so a very common question for me was, why are you appearing for MBA as a fresher and why not work experience? So for me, I had my reasons, but this question doesn't have a standardized answer. So I think for everyone who's appearing as a fresher, it's important to have this answer ready. Apart from that, a lot of interviews revolve around work experience, but since I did not have that, so a lot of it also revolved around my internships and academic projects. So this was also because I mentioned them in my introduction. So it's necessary to know everything about your about your internships. And so, for example, my IIM Calcutta interview, I had two internships, and for both of them, they asked me a lot of rapid fire questions for like 2 to 3 minutes. Um, Apart from that, being a fresher, it's very important that you know the content of your course, whatever you have studied. So, since I've done BMS, so it's important that you have some subjects in mind. So, for example, it's a very common question that they ask, "What is your favorite subject?" And once you say that, they'll ask some questions. And then there are some uh, common areas for freshers. For example, mathematics, statistics, economics. Those are the areas which we should know the basics of at least. And finally, GK is the most important thing. So there's two types of general knowledge: static and dynamic. Static is all about your CV. So, for example, I hail from Bhuj, so I need to know everything about Bhuj, Kutch, Gujarat. I was studying in Mumbai, so I need to know everything about that place. And then I'm appearing for some interview. So, for example, if I'm appearing for IIM Ahmedabad interview, I need to know everything about Ahmedabad, IIM Ahmedabad, its director, its courses, everything. Its slogan, tagline. So those are the static ones that don't change much. But then there is dynamic ones that you need to know about the current affairs as well, and anything that has happened in the last 6 months, especially in the last 15 days of your interview, before your interview. So it has a very high probability of being asked, and it's necessary that you have an opinion on it. It's not important that you be right or wrong, but you need to have some opinion. So that they know that you have considered the situation and you know about it, and then you have formed an opinion.
I'm a fresher. So my interview basically revolved about me, my career goals, my short term, my long term goals, and my hobbies, and also my undergraduation subjects as well. So right from the beginning, the first question, which is very popular among administration committees, tell me about yourself. So because when you answer to this question, it sets the tone for rest of the interview. Remember that life is a story, and I have to be a storyteller. I have to tell my story so that rest of the interview can revolve around it. So it's very important. Whenever I was mentioning about my introduction, I told everything right from the beginning, from my childhood till MBA, how my future goals will look like after doing an MBA from this institute. The answer has to be very personalized, so I made sure that my answers are very personalized, which will be following up to the rest of the questions. And I think one more thing that I want to mention, especially when a student enter as a fresher, they should be very much well versed with their undergraduate subjects. Especially, at least make three subjects very friendly with you. They just took out my mark sheets and then started asking about my accounts, my statistics, my marketing subjects that I recently gave exams like the last semester, which are very fresh in my mind. So they are very for the fresher, it is very important to be very well versed with their undergraduate subjects, because I think 80%, 70 to 80% of the interviews revolved around them. So this was one thing that I faced, because it was very common across all the interviews that they were all asking about my grad subjects. And secondly, confidence. I have to be very confident to crack any of the interviews. As I mentioned, the ID Delhi incident. And hobbies. There were multiple questions about my hobbies. If I'm saying that I have interest towards dancing, so it's not just that you just say it and they accept it. No, you have to support it with a story or something very relevant, right? I have to mention few of the incidents there where I also, as a came out as a leader. I led teams, dance teams, and everything. So you have a good, backup history and everything regarding your hobbies as well, right? It's not like that you started dancing once a year and you say that you love dancing. So you have to be very passionate about your hobbies as well.
Common questions. Okay, to start with them, I feel our introduction, that's the very common question. Almost all my interviews started with my introduction. And majorly the SOP, the statement of purpose that was written by me for different colleges, mostly they ask questions around that. And at the same time, since I have a good portion of work ex, so all my interviews almost revolved around my work ex as to how I handled various situations. And they would give me situational and behavioral questions regarding the work ex, and ask me what I would have been done in those scenarios. These were some of the major things that happened. And beyond that, why I want to do an MBA at this point of time, why not continue with my job itself. And yeah, I think pretty much these were the questions that were very frequent in the interviews.
So one of the common question that I faced, that why MBA after engineering? That is the most common question anyone will get, like from when they're jumping from one stream to this MBA stream. And followed by that, since I had a 22 months work ex, they asked me about my job, and since I was in fintech, and so they were eager, like how the entire fintech ecosystem works. They also asked questions mostly like, if the hacker tries to do this, that, how are you guys taking prevention, how much secure is the internal ecosystem of a fintech framework is. So yeah, mostly tech based, and few HR questions were common across all the interviews.
So first thing would be introspection, because a lot of questions can be a little bit unsettling or unexpected. So it's better that you write down the questions about your CV. You go through everything of your profile, whatever you have filled in the form, and you go through everything. You make questions which can be asked about your CV, and then you prepare answers for the same. Uh, so you need to know yourself the most before any interview. So that's the first thing. And apart from that, some one approach that I followed was preparing a comprehensive Word document where I had these sections, say general knowledge, academics, or personal background, internships, everything. Then I used to write answers. So I used to prepare like 30-40 second answers. I used to read through them so that I'm not caught by surprise. So that is one approach that people can follow. And yeah, staying updated with general knowledge, current affairs is a must. So right from December to say February, March, they need to keep themselves updated. And apart from that, they need to know what they want to do in future. So it's not important to have a clear path, but every interviewer wants to know what you are planning about your future. So something about that as well. And finally, your interests. So be it sports, music, anything, you need to know everything about your interest, the best people in the industry, or your favorite celebrity, or someone who you follow a lot, someone who inspires you. So such kind of questions are very common about your interests. So yeah, you can make such subcategories and then start adding up questions first and then prepare answers for them. So that is something that they can follow. And once they think that they are ready, like say January, mid-January, January end, then they can start appearing for mock interviews so that they can get feedback from someone else as to what they can improve on.
The first thing is like preparing. Uh, a person, a individual, a candidate should be thoroughly prepared for the answer. It's not like that you just go for an interview unprepared and you make it. It's not the case with the B schools. Let me be very clear about it. You need to be very much prepared. And also, when we prepare for why MBA answers and why this college answers, the answer remains somewhere around similar. It is very important to tailor your responses to the specific B schools. Like if I am appearing for FMS Delhi, my answer should revolve around FMS campus, the professors, the management and everything. So it should be very much personalized answer. Because admission committees and the professors, they don't want you to just why this program is right for you, not just why you want to do an MBA in general. So it is very important to do research about the curriculum, about the teaching styles, about the professors, and it's very important. It goes in the right direction when you highlight professors. So I think this is one of the things that students can do, right? And there are also situation based questions that are being asked in the interviews, like they can give you any situation and you have to just come out with a solution as a leader, as a collaborative leader. So for that, you have to be very well prepared. I think following a star approach, situation, task, action, result, this is a star approach that I followed. So through this you can build up your answers really well. So this kind of questions that need to be prepared. Thirdly, while you are answering all these questions, right? So I think you should bring out all of your leadership, collaborative skills. How where you like Since joining from the school, we have been through a lot of journey, like being a monitor, being a head girl, and being at multiple positions. I think leadership qualities, collaborative qualities, you should be mentioning after every now and then, so that they can understand the budding leader around you, inside you. So I think this is one of the things that I followed. And also, uh, thinking on your feet, they evaluate and judge you on every aspect. They try to understand your presence of mind, how you can just make decisions very quickly and very right decisions on time. So thinking on food is one of the thing that you should be very aware of it. Yeah. And something, if I have to tell about don'ts of an interview at B school, is like, don't be very generic. I mean, do not prepare any answer which is very generic. Like you can follow this answer at IIMs also, at FMS also, and other like NMIMS also. So you have to be a little specific about every answer, whatever you speak. And apart from this, confidence is good, but overconfidence is not. So there are incidents where people are overconfident and they do not make it an interview. So I think overconfidence sometimes can bring a negative impact to your panels. And thirdly is like, I think you should be confident enough, you should be read enough, prepared well. Here that whenever an interview is summing up, when it is coming to an end, I think it is very important for a candidate to prepare some questions, some relevant, some intelligent questions, and not very generic, that you can ask the professors, the panels there, which sometimes can make a lasting impression on them. Something like that, and at least be a thankful enough, give a thank you note to them, which is really impressive and gives you lasting impression. So one more point added.
Okay, I'll start with the do's that one should be doing for the interviews. So the very basic is, since SOP is something that every college asks for, that should be something that someone should be well versed with before sitting in the interview. Also, current affairs. The recent current affairs is something that one should be aware about, because we tend to say some words, some jargons, and if you're not aware about the jargons completely and the interviewer keep on asking questions on that, that becomes a difficulty. So it's better that we stay aware about the current affairs, and at the same time be need picking while using the jargons in the exam, I mean in the interview. And also giving mocks. The mock interview, I gave a lot of mock interviews and got well versed with the atmosphere that is there in the interview. And one important thing I would say is being honest in the interviews, because the interviewer are smart enough that they get to know when we are bluffing. So it will be better if you stay honest and be truthful. And if you don't know the answer, it's okay to deny that I don't know the answer to the question. And to talk about the don'ts, so the very first and important don't would be not to panic in situations. It has happened with me that I don't know answer to 3 to 4 questions in a row, but at that time it's important to maintain my composure, be calm over there, so that the interview is able to assess that I am able to handle stress. And one mistake that I did for my first interview was I ignored the HR questions. I was not well versed with them, and I got some back-to-back HR questions, and I struggled a bit with that. So it's important not to leave them. And next, I think greeting the interviewers, maintaining a straight body posture in the interview. These are something that one should be doing, not to avoid them. So yeah, pretty much that.
So first thing that I will say that they should do is like they should know their resume inside out, and never ever put bluff. Thora mota like you can do, but don't bluff too much on the resume because they can catch you at any point. And these profs are like they have taken so much interviews that they can easily see through the students who are coming there, like who are trying to like be act over smarter a lot. So don't do that. That is the most important thing. And yeah, know your everything, like know your entire life story inside out. That is the most important thing. And apart from that, the few basics like India's GDP, what is like WPI, CPI, that you will get in any interview preparation kit by the IIMs that they prepare. That prepare those things, have the common of general knowledge and your life story, like your acads, your work how what's happening in that space, and like yeah, your resume. Try to add some unique point if possible. If not, that is fine because most people have a very like standard resume. So yeah, that is also fine. You don't have to forcefully add anything, but some touch of uniqueness will be a edge for you. Yeah, but yeah, don't try to like say something extra which you don't know because you don't know when they can catch you off the guard and you will be in a mess.